Welcome to Smutty Scriptures, the podcast where three best friends gathered together to explore the holy text of fantasy romance novels. I'm Head Priest Blue Cromwell, and I'm joined by my sisters in sin, Cuddlefish and Purple Space Cat, to tell you all about our thoughts on this episode's sacred text. We are finishing Queen of Shadows today.
We're talking about it.
I feel like it's not officially over until we talk about it on the podcast, personally.
I agree. And holy hell, do we have a lot to talk about?
Yeah, this is what, our fifth book in the series?
Yeah, I feel a little unprepared for this, if I'm honest.
Mm-hmm.
Because so you see, what happened was I meant to jump into this book in like thirds or even quarters, like this last little piece of it.
Sure.
From chapter 48 on. And then I didn't. So
what happened there?
Yeah, what do you mean by that?
What do you mean?
I just didn't stop.
What do you mean by that?
But that was days ago.
Yeah.
And I got bored and started reading two other books.
As one does.
The one with the quasi-incest?
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Credence.
Right.
All the way. So I don't remember what happened in this book.
Shut up.
Hey, we're gonna walk through it because, like a true Sarah J. Maas novel, the last 100, or in this case 200 pages, the bank truly did explode.
You'll remember as we talk about it, but at least a general impression for me, I fucking loved it. I wanted more time to read it because I was like, just every couple moments, like something would happen that I'm like, oh my God, what do you mean by that? And then I want to like set it down and like emotionally handle what just happened. But I'm like, no, like I have to read this for the podcast. You can't just like emotionally need 2 days after each thing. It's not going to work. It's not going to work out for this. But
you told me that, and that's why I was like, okay, I'll break this into small pieces.
Mm-hmm.
So really, it's your fault.
So really,
first of all,
so you didn't read it; you devoured it.
Yeah, that's accurate.
Maybe we go like piece by piece or like character by character because there's literally so much.
This may or may not have sparked several fights between me and my husband because he was like, eat food, and I'm like, fuck off. And
there is no food, there is only Sarah J. Maas.
Only. We are masochists. It's a lifestyle.
And he's like, but I want to watch TV. And I'm like, well, I guess you're gonna do it on your phone somewhere else far away from me because I claimed the living room 6 hours ago.
And I'm still here.
So I think for me, I love all of the plot things that happen, like these big, huge pieces. And I think the end of this does a really, really tremendous job of setting us up for the next novel and like the next. So I feel like it tied a lot of loose ends. It was very much like the end of a chapter. I mean, it's many chapters, but it was very much like the end of some storylines and the start of another. Sarah says several times in the writing where she makes it clear that this is an ending, and then they're like, no, this is a new beginning. And I think that that's really clear in the story and in the plot, because I think very much she's ending Selena Sardathian truly. We're moving on. Even more so than part one. And I think part one did a really good job of wrapping up a lot of Assassin Daddy.
Yeah, Lysandra did a really good job of wrapping him up.
Yeah.
Speaking of Lysandra, holy heck,
I love her.
I love her.
Yeah,
she's mine.
And we fucking hated her in Assassin's Blade, didn't we?
We really did. We hated on her so hard.
I was like,
really?
You know what? Every time you guys are like, I don't like this character, I'm like, you know Sarah. You know she's going to turn it around. The character's going to learn a lesson. They're going to think about that other character differently. He will get a redemption arc, and you know that.
I hate it.
You can hate it all you want. When it gets to you, you will thank Sarah J. Maas for what she has done. Those are the rules of this church. I don't make the rules, okay? I'm speaking through. Sarah J. Maas is speaking through me. To be patient with certain characters. It's just like, just part of the gimmick,
Sarah punches us.
Don't want to be patient.
No, you must.
Sarah punches us in the gut, and we say, "Thank you. Can I have another?"
Literally, I'm like, I think it's 3 actually. 1 in the face, 1 in the gut.
Yeah.
Exactly. Sarah's already explained.
There was so much with the witches. Mm-hmm. I was like, again with the witches. All right. I mean, I was kind of digging what we were just reading, but okay, yeah, witches. Let's go back to that. Mm-hmm. There are several times whenever it's just abruptly switched pace, and I'm like, so let's talk about the witches now.
Mm-hmm. I love it though, because I wanted that content. So I'm like, please, bro.
Yes.
Give me Manon and the 13. Like, give it to me.
Okay, but Manon and Asterin having it out?
Literally my favorite part.
Oh my god.
The scene of like her opening up to Manon and like telling
that
her.
made me cry, Loki.
Oh my god. Like the whole the fact, oh my god, this is a small detail in that scene that really like made it horrific. Like it already is horrific. The fact that like all this has happened, we kind of understand the culture around like what it means for a witch in this society to 1, get pregnant, and then 2, to lose a baby. And the fact that the word that's branded over her womb is unclean, and it specifies that it was individual letters. That it was done, like, because in my head, I don't know, I just had thought of, like, literally
a stamp.
That word, instead of, like, individual letters. I was like, fuck, dude.
At least it wasn't something like onomatopoeia.
Oh my gosh.
I mean,
silver lining, that's all I'm saying.
Small victory for the homies. But yeah, that scene was, like, it was nice to see what we've set up for a long time with Manon to start being more emotional, to be more than what she was taught. And that whole scene and like actually having her react it was wonderful. I loved it. It showed a lot of growth for Manon. For Sarah and I didn't really like have a lot of character moments with her. Like, I mean, we get little bits and pieces, and even like the scream that she says she lets out, and Aelin decided to save Manon at that point because she's like, that's how I would sound when Rowan is hurt. And
that's how I would sound if you guys were hurt.
She's like, I gotta do it. I gotta save the homie, which, I mean, hey, worked out in the end too. So, but yeah, that's probably my favorite. It's hard to pinpoint a favorite, but that scene had such an emotional impact and showed so much growth for Manon. And we got so much witch content that I was like, this is the winner for me.
The battle or fight between Aelin and Manon. Oh my god.
Oh shit. It's going down.
I didn't want either one of them to win.
I was like, go you. No.
Wait a minute. Hold on. I was the same way. And I was like, no, Sarah, come on. There's got to be a way. I mean, not that they should stalemate, but I kind of want them to stalemate, or maybe something happens. I don't know.
But like, they're both way too good to do that.
I think how that went was so perfect. It was so perfect.
I feel like they earned each other's respect. And I feel like that's going to come back to play.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Especially with the close relationship between Aelin and Dorian, and then what we're hinting at with Manon and Dorian, like...
Oh, it would be steamy.
Ooh, I did love the scene of, I'll bleed whatever color you tell me to.
I was like, yeah.
Oh my god.
Just don't fade to black, please.
I love too with them. It was a smaller moment, but how that conversation with the other witch of being like, which actually was in section, I actually found it in the literature here for those who want to make a quick reference.
In the scriptures.
In the scriptures. Our holy text of chapter 63, page 502 is where all this conversation is going down. Obviously, it's important, it's poignant, and you follow it along very well. But just the fact that, like, Manon's asking, like, did you go back? Did you check on him? Like what, like, how was that for you? And then at the end, she goes to look at Dorian. Like, she just goes to fly over exactly the same way that Assyrian did for her woodcutter potential mans, the father of her children.
I didn't even make that connection.
I was like, bitch, you just discovered love yesterday, and I know you think that's what it is. But I love it. I love that for us. Yeah, it was such a cute moment of, like, I think she was replicating that in her mind.
what do you think Manon and Dorian would be like? I feel like it would definitely be Dommy Mommy. And I would love to see Dorian like crawling on his hands and knees for her. Like, just please.
I feel like that would be really weird power struggle for the actual kingdom, though.
I'm okay with it.
I feel like dominant women, more often if they're dominant in day-to-day life, that's the one area they don't want to be dominant in.
I don't know. It's Manon, though.
She's not so much dominant as she is. She's a force unto herself.
Yeah. She's put in a place of power and responsibility and all that stuff all the time, though. I can see her being like, I'm not doing this too.
One could say it was thrust upon her.
You're all banned.
You know, I was a little jarred whenever Astrid was explaining that the baby was stillborn, because I gotta be honest, I didn't know that was where that was gonna go. I thought it was gonna be the baby was murdered or the baby was taken, but when she was like stillborn, it really hit me. And there's so much that goes into, well, I mean, if anybody has ever like lost a child, you know, there is some very intense emotions with that. And seeing the two of them open up and Manon just blindly supporting her friend and having that be what they were growing into during that conversation was, I think, the shove that Manon needed to open her eyes to reality around her and to who her grandmother really was. When
she heard all that and she literally fell to her knees, like having Manon be so shocked and so just this fucking anger and vitriol that she has for her grandmother now because of like and I love how she asked too, she's like, are you the only one? Like, as this happened to other people, like I'm gonna get to the bottom of this. To see her so impacted to literally be on her knees in front of her second. Oh my god.
It broke my heart though, whenever she was like, no, I'm not the only one. Like, this is super common fucking practice. Your grandma, a bitch.
Mood.
I was like, oh god. It's like, and she didn't even fucking know.
Yeah.
She didn't even know.
I cannot wait until we get a chance to have her explain herself, which I feel like is definitely going to happen. I think Grandma's probably going to die between now and the end of the novels. But I mean, for Manon to take over all the Blackbeak covens, well, at least that's what I want to happen. So that's what's going to happen, Sarah. But I can't wait until Grandma has to explain herself. And I want to know what is her rationale, unless Grandma is also possessed. I suppose that could be.
Could be. Emphasis on could.
Yeah.
There has to be some advantage, I think. I mean, obviously they got the fucking wyverns, and that was like part of their deal. I wonder if there's something else, because obviously Manon, that's our main character that we get perspective of for this witch content, and she clearly doesn't, unfortunately, know a lot of what's going on, so I could see there being some things that they're planning for.
Well, Manon was the main person for the witches until she rescued a lead.
Queen.
And we got
dead. Oh my god.
Yes, our fire, a different fire bitch queen in her own right.
I was so wondering about that, because it only became shadowy whenever she had the word stone inside of her. It was like regular fire before then. So is she somehow related to Aelin? And is this like a Harry Potter thing where like there were two kids and, you know, Voldemort went after one instead of the other, and that's how Harry Potter became Harry Potter?
I took it a little differently. I took it like, I actually marked a couple of these. We could go by this, but for Lady Coltane, she, in my mind, she's exactly what Nesta was.
Oh, yes. So many Nesta crossovers.
Yeah, because she, like, that god of death thing, all this, and the fact that, like, she's in her mind stealing and, like, taking things from this demon and powers that she's not been given. And that whole relationship. So I almost think, because it's silver flames, just like how Nesta
the shadow
experience. Yeah. The silver flames are what's, like, lives within her. And I don't think in the Sarah J. Maas universe that is... Because it becomes the shadow, obviously, due to, like, everything that's happening to her. But I think in Sarah J. Maas's universe, that's a very supernatural, even beyond, like... I mean, obviously, it has to do with Fae and everything, but...
So do you think she was made with a capital M?
Well, I don't know how it works without a cauldron, but I assume the word stones could play a part. In my head, this book takes place way in the past for Makatar. I know she has, I don't think she's, at least at this point, officially said what has happened first or last. So if they end up putting the word stones back together, it's very possible that that forms a cauldron.
I don't know if it's necessarily like in the past. I've always looked as, I think it's adjacent.
Wibbly wobbly, timey wimey.
I think it's adjacent, but not in the same book.
Sure.
And I think that's, yeah. So not necessarily happening at the same time, but I like they're, yeah. I don't know. It's kind of weird.
And maybe there is some supernatural power in both of these simultaneous multiverses, and one gets a cauldron and one gets the word keys.
I'm very interested to see if, because I know that Crescent City intersects with Akatar directly, and the characters interact directly on some level. I'm hopeful that Crescent City will also interact with Throne of Glass, because otherwise we don't really have anything to connect them other than it's just set in the same world on the other side of the planet. You know, it's not connected and intertwined as much as we want it to be.
Yeah, we'll have to, when we get to those, I'm sure we'll get a lot of questions answered as far as how Sarah's building this multiverse. We all want to know.
But Kaltain was a badass bitch.
Yeah.
I really could see so much of Nesta in her. And like just the way that she was described with the dress and then with the behavior and then with the Devourer of Worlds title that she gave herself or that they gave her. I loved it. I loved all of it. I was like, oh my God. I was so sad that she died, but I get it. And she took out all of the creepy babies.
And all of the witchlings who were ready to go because things had already happened and it was a problem.
Yeah. She took out like a third of the big bad place. I was like, God damn, so we need 2 more. We need 2 more Kaltains. Fucking sew that little pebble inside 2 more bitches. Let's go.
And to this point, we have not actually read or heard about any other person who had been possessed actually battle that demon on the inside and win.
No, that's true.
Even Dorian struggled and he needed help to get to that point.
Okay, can I just say though that the fact that when he was in his brain hole and he was losing himself and didn't even know who the fuck he was anymore, that the only name that he remembered was Manan. Okay, I just that was really impactful. Okay,
me taking the book and smacking my husband and saying, if you were ever possessed, my name is the only you're allowed to remember. I am in love with who Lysandra turns into at the very, very end when they're talking about her like shifting between animals and how she like pounces and she chases and she's like, and she's just happy, bro. And like, I love it. And actually the first thing that I tagged in this was like the first touching moment that she had with Aelin. And she says on page 404, I wasn't just talking about her, I'm grateful for you. And then later on when they joke about Aelin proposing.
Oh my God.
Wait, no, are you actually proposing?
That's very us energy.
Oh, wait. Oh, wait.
And she
just gave very us vibes.
It does. And she like was astounded that Aelin thought that she had value and had worth, and it just made me want to give her the biggest hug. And I love her so much.
Yeah, I mean, just for what she was willing to put up with for Evangeline and just who she was. Lysandra was also probably, like, she's got to be on my list for favorites. I know we haven't gone, at least in favorite scenes talk yet, but I did mark that as probably the scene that surprised me the most was page 568 in the Holy Text, in the scripture, which is like 2 pages into chapter 75. I wasn't expecting it. I probably should have, but it caught me off guard and I literally started crying. This is the scene where they are starting to fight and it's looking hopeless and a lot's happening, and Aiden and Rowan are fighting and like protecting each other as like brothers, and it's a really impactful scene. And then all of a sudden the commander's hand came down and was ripped clean off by a ghost leopard. Dude,
love it.
I was reading it and I literally had to set it down. I look like that one crying meme, and just like the I just couldn't do it. I literally was like, bro, what do you mean? Because she had just left the city, and of course, like, it's such like a, I think looking at it now, I'm like, of course she would come back, and she's like, hee hee hee.
Yeah.
You know, I can't leave my friends. Very Selena.
I kind of wonder what happened to her dress. I want to know the ins and outs of how her shifting works. Like,
You just want to know if she gets naked.
no, I want to know about. I want to know if she has to see the animal, because she's never seen a ghost leopard. She just took that off of like their descriptions. They did not give super detailed descriptions for somebody who's never seen a snow leopard before.
Mm-hmm.
Like we understand it's a snow leopard and they're just calling it a ghost leopard, but they don't know that.
Yeah. I mean, they
So-
described kind of what it looked like.
So then
what it
what-
acted like, its eye color.
So if she needs to see the thing in order to change into
She needs
the thing,
to imagine. She needs to have the image in her head.
I just imagine her bursting down there thinking that she looks like a ghost leopard, but really she just looks like some weird ass cat monstrosity. And
She's
that's
like,
why
if you tried
everybody
to
was
draw
petrified.
it from memory.
Yeah.
Oh
It's
my
like whenever
God.
you're doing that challenge where you're drawing a picture but you're not looking at it, and you look at it, you're like, the fuck did I do?
Yeah, I mean, fair enough. Maybe we'll get, well, I'm sure we'll get, she's not going away anytime soon. I mean, Aelin obviously gave her a very important place in her court, so we'll probably get some more shape-shifting shenanigans around, which will be fun.
I love her so much. I kind of low-key wanted Aelin to propose, though.
I was like, go on.
I was like, yes, please. Like, I'll take it.
Well,
Do you
I'm
guys
glad you
Return. Let's go.
I'm glad you say that, because there was a place that I marked on page 455 when Aelin sees Manon for the first time, and she says, and I quote, "She was the most beautiful person Aelin had ever seen." And
that sounds really similar to how Farah described Reese.
I was like, I know they're not mates, but that's not really fair.
Yeah,
The author is.
That's a red herring. I see you, Sarah.
not me being queer baited. I'm like, Manon, are you straight? Really? I mean, Dorian's a good choice, I guess, but like, come on.
Well, we got to know that 2 of the witches are
They're
dating.
lovers.
I was like, hell yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How is that okay for making witchlings? How are they okay with LGBT stuffs, but they're not okay with childbirth complications? How are they very like, no, you're cool, but then they're also like super draconic about this thing?
I think women are seen as their equals and men are lesser and just tools to an end. So if they were to sleep with men for the procreation, I don't think it would be seen as little more than a sex toy or a snack, because they would probably eat them after. So,
okay, this brings me to a very small but interesting tangent.
okay. Go on.
While we've been reading this book, I have ended up on an odd part of TikTok.
What do you mean by that? Oh, are you talking about with the snacks and the intimacy timing and the
Yes.
Yeah, all right.
the sacred slutty snackies.
Mhm.
And the only thing I can think about is the witches having sex with these dudes and then eating them. Like, literally. He's like,
Yeah.
oh, you want to eat this dick? Don't mind if I do.
Just fucking wipes it up. I
Oh my God.
mean, that would be their, you know.
just whenever you inevitably end up on that weird part of TikTok, just keep that in mind. So that way you will suffer with me. Because I don't know what to do with this information.
Yeah, I kind of want to try it out. It's like intimacy settings and then food pairings to go with it to enhance.
Yeah, it's like while you're having your book talk spicy alone time, you have specific snacks that you eat. You know, like men, I guess.
Yeah, I mean for Manon and
your Manon and them.
That would make sense.
And yeah, they're sacred apparently. Sacred slutty snack. Moving on. This is a weird tangent.
Anyway, I did want to ask you guys. I know we have a lot. It's hard for me to even pinpoint anything because I fucking love this section. But do either of you have like a least favorite moment? I have a really small one. Just because I was like, ooh, like that kind of sucks. I mean, I guess it was just really when Roland died. I know we don't have like a lot of character information on Roland, and I know Dorian kind of felt like, is he my friend? Is he my ally? Is he not? But knowing that Dorian was in there the whole time and that Roland was in there, because he does talk at the end and like begs them to kill him. Which like, hey, maybe that's the better choice. He's lived through too much. He's like, I can't fucking come back from all the shit I've seen. So, and all the shit I've done with my own hands, technically, while I was a passenger in my own body. But it definitely sucks knowing that there was a way to get Dorian out and to save him. Because up until that point, up until very much right before they do their final mission, so to speak, they don't know that until Manon writes on the wall. Like, he's in there. And it changes everything. And I'm like, damn, they killed my boy Roland. Like, it just felt like a moment of like, we didn't get a lot of him. I thought we were going to get some political intrigue or something at some point. Like, and shit changes and like, you know, I get it. Characters are going to die off and shit's going to happen, but it just felt like it was wasteful.
Yeah, I can agree where it just kind of seemed like there was an opportunity and then we just didn't take it.
Yeah, like at least Lady Coltane, like she got this whole scene of like, they fucked me up, they ruined my life, give this word key to this person. Also, my god, she kept the fucking cloth from Selena. She took a piece of
Oh my god, that made me like really upset.
Bro, I was like, I'm gonna throw up. What do you mean she did that? But, like, you know, she got this moment of empowerment. And she got to, like, I mean, take herself out on her own terms and also, like, take out her captors. And Roland didn't get that. And I was like, damn, it would have been, I don't know. I had something else. Like, and it's just a very small moment where I just felt like maybe there was some way to use him as, like, as something. Or, I don't know. It just depends.
It kind of makes me feel like Roland was an afterthought character.
Yeah, she's like, oh shit, what about that guy the Duke had? Right.
Yeah, he dies.
Yeah, he's dead. Don't worry. And it's okay because he asked to be killed.
Well, I think that it's more like, it's less like tying up loose ends, more like an accentuation or a punctuation of the fact that in times of war and shitty people being in charge, not everybody has a happy ending. Yeah. Not everybody has closure to their situation. And more often than not, you don't ever get it. That it's truly, you know, the ones that do are truly the rare ones, the rare instances where it occurs.
I can appreciate that, but I just wish I felt like the text supported me interpreting the message. I guess. Like, I can take a step outside of myself and then think about it in that sense, but I don't know if Sarah did enough for the text in that one particular scene for me to interpret it that way.
Like, maybe, because we do understand that we learned something from that interaction, but it kind of seemed like it was, like you said, wasteful, and that if we had learned more, or maybe if he had relinquished a secret, that would have been worth it.
But, well, he did relinquish a secret.
I don't know. It just felt like, again, I really can't describe it in another way, just like wasteful. I was like, man, use him for something.
I did not enjoy and this might be a little controversial, the battle in the castle right before it shattered. I did not enjoy the writing of the battle because I was having a really hard time understanding what the fuck was happening, where we were, how this is all working. Are they like, is it, I don't understand. I don't understand the layout. I don't understand. Is it a tower and then it's another tower and then we have a glass tunnel? And then how are we doing all this stuff? And the glass hole not breaking. Oh no, it does break. But I thought it was, and then she fall. I don't know. It just was really confusing to me. And that made it not fun to read. But I, was like, I don't actually have to know. I just need the important plot points. So I feel that could have done better.
Yeah. I also, this is a stupid thing of me. Like when the glass like breaks and there's still a castle underneath it of stone.
Yeah.
Not what I pictured at all. I pictured a fucking glass castle. I pictured it being literal like layers of multicolored like plexiglass.
Yeah, they go over that in Throne of Glass. The first, in the first book, they talk about how there was a regular castle made of stone, and then they build a glass one on top of it.
I thought that meant like you take out the castle and you build the glass one right there. Like not that
I
there's
thought
an
that
existing
it meant
castle that was built around.
I don't know. Words are hard.
Yeah.
I thought that it meant like the stone one was maybe like fucked up. Not perfect. So like whenever the glass one got broken, because I knew that was going to happen because it's glass. Mm-hmm. But I thought that whenever the glass one got broken, that the stone one underneath wasn't going to be a perfect castle. It would be like a fucked up one, like the ones that are dilapidated out in, like Ireland and shit that people go to, like pretty and all of that. And occasionally you'll find like rooms and stuff that are still complete. But for the most part, the castle itself is kind of fucked.
Yeah.
So that's what I thought that it was going to be like, except for the places that were still like lived in, obviously. Yeah. But the walls and shit were going to be like broken. But then they're like, no, hey, you have a castle. Yay. And I was like, oh, okay. All right. Well, okay. And now they have a weird glass wave wall. That's a thing. I love that she did that. I still hate the fact that it's glass. Maybe I just don't like the fact that it's glass.
Yeah, I think I've always been kind of like, huh? And then I just had a really hard time like envisioning what that actually like looked like, I guess.
Yeah, I had a hard time with that part. But again, I knew that I was like, well, I don't really have to know what it looks like. I just need to know, does she die? No, okay, it's fine.
Mm-hmm. There's some sort of a glass wall wave thing. It's like a whole thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That part was not my favorite to read because it was confusing.
What about surprising moments? I know I've already shared mine with the Lysandra coming out of nowhere as the snow/ghost leopard right at that clutch moment to save our boys. God bless. But what about you guys?
I was surprised whenever Carol was like wheelchair bound, essentially. At the end of it, I was like, oh shit. Mm-hmm. And I think I actually sent that to you guys, didn't I? In a text. I was like, oh shit. And was that the one where I was like, page 600, oh my god, what's on that page?
Something like that. Yeah, I mean, once we got to the end, we were kind of all back and forth of, oh my god,
oh my god, oh my god,
page
oh
600,
my god,
listen, oh my god. Yeah.
And I was like, dude.
You know who's going to heal him? That healer that's Elena. Yeah. Baby.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
About that, I thought that was interesting because on page 483, the scripture reads, Aelin had felt it before, a threat in the world, a current running between her and someone else. She'd felt it one night years ago and had given a young healer the money to get the hell out of this continent. She'd felt the tug and had decided to tug back. And here it was again, that tug toward Manon, whose arms buckled as she collapsed in the stone. So it almost seems like fate in this realm or version of the realm is almost a tangible thing. And that's not the first time that they've described it as a string. She felt one with Kale, right, in the beginning, and we were like, oh my gosh, is that mates? Oh my gosh, because we're fangirling. But maybe it was just that they were meant to have their fates intertwined. In a similar way, I think that Scarlett St. Clair writes in her books.
The Hades and Persephone ones?
Yeah, because in that one, they describe it as a string that connects people. And I feel like that's kind of what we're talking about here. So maybe in this world, it's fate. It's not fated mate. It doesn't necessarily mean a relationship, is my point.
Part of me wonders, is it fate or is it Elena?
I wonder if it's actually the gods. They talk all the time, the fucking time about the gods are gone, the gods abandoned us, gods blah blah blah. No gods, no more, blah blah blah. But like literally the gods interact with them so many times, it's a little ridiculous. They're all like, oh, I felt the sun on my face. That shouldn't have been that warm, and it was the sun lady, like, I like you and shit. Or it was a breeze that was, but it's like but they do it all the fucking time, they're like, oh, I guess the god was looking out for me. I guess the god, and I'm like, I know you're doing this like hyperbole, but like, I feel like maybe they kind of are.
Yeah.
Yeah, because again, I had another one pointed out, 595. Manon says a little wind pushed at Manon's feet as if it could hurry her along. She knew that it was a goddess peering over her shoulder, a lady of wise. Now, we don't have a complete god or goddess list, but we know that Aelin is related to at least two, right? The Huntress and the Fire one.
Yeah.
And Maeve was mentioned to be at one point trying to become a goddess, and then wasn't there another one also that she's related to?
I don't know. Well, she's like super like connected.
She just name drops all the people.
It's where she gets her fucking names.
Do you guys think that we're gonna see or maybe talk to, or like that the gods and goddesses are going to be actual characters more in the last 3 books, or do you think they're going to still be this, off in the distance?
I think they're going to still be off in the distance, but tell you what god I want to know so much more about is the fucking Sin Eater god. Yeah. That I think was what surprised me the most, was that whole thing with the sins and the bones. I was like, oh my god, give me a whole fucking series. Like, I need it. Give it to me. I need dark romance. I need lore. I need everything.
I thought for sure he would be there.
Who? The god?
The god. And he was not. And I was like, oh. I wanted him to be there.
I don't expect the gods to be more. I think it will kind of end. I wouldn't mind if they did it, but I think it will kind of end with like Elena and like maybe Brandon and stuff like that. Like those kind of historical figures, but not really go much further than that. I wouldn't be against it. And the Sin Eater stuff was so good.
It really was. It was really interesting and intriguing and different from everything that we had really done up to that point. It was almost ghost story-ish, in the way that it was coming about.
I think that it was really cool, and the Sin Eater stuff, and it was like a real thing. Being a Sin Eater, it was a real job, and like an actual, like, people were employed to do this kind of a thing. The last Sin Eater, the last person who legitimately in our real life world died in 1906. So like, it's not even all that long ago that we had the last Sin Eater. And
so what you're saying is I should bring it back.
No.
Are they hiring?
No.
I mean, that'd be pretty cool on my LinkedIn. So
was a god? Listen to people confess.
So for the Sin Eaters, you were talking about them like eating like a ritualistic meal thing. Is it like?
And I said gross? Hot Pockets.
Oh my god, not Hot Pockets, bro! Please. I was gonna say, like, is it gross? Like, is it gross food? Like, do you have to eat? Like, is the food like?
No, what they did was they set the dead body on a table, basically, because a long time ago they didn't have fancy stuff. So they set a dead body on a table, kind of like how we do wakes. And the Sin Eater would sit at the head of the dead body, and they would like put their hands on either side of their head, and they would just kind of like, I guess, focus intently on them. And that was supposed to be like them absorbing the sins of the dead person, taking it on themselves, so that way that person would have an easier time in the afterlife. And the Sin Eaters were regarded as like super highly respected social outcasts, like professional mourners were, and also fuck the people that kill you. Executioners were also
Men?
Assassins.
executioners were also highly respected and feared, but social outcasts. Nobody really wanted those jobs because of the social stigma that comes along with being an unaliver or a mourner or a sin eater.
Like, seriously though, that sounds perfect. Just, I'll go stare at a dead guy and then everyone will leave me alone. Not in a mean way. Perfect. And then I'll go eat my Hot Pockets in peace.
Yeah, like you get to pick the food. Like I'm just ordering, like I'm door dashing Taco Bell to the site and I'm having a Baja Blast while
right.
You're
gonna have a blast.
Literally.
I have to tell you, I was surprised at Brannon's sin, his confession.
That they weren't able to finish the job, so to speak.
Yeah. And then went on like they had, because he painted him kind of like the self-righteous guy. And then Rowan was the only one who was like, yeah, no. But other than that, I mean, it's like what we had gotten out of them. So it's just, I mean, I'm glad that no one's infallible. But I can tell you I have an absolute favorite part. I have an absolute favorite and then I have a sub-favorite.
Go on.
So page 436.
In the scriptures? Let us all turn.
Sorry to all the religious people who follow us based on the name scriptures.
Oh, rip.
We worship in a different place.
Yeah, speaking of worship, Rowan is talking to Aelin and says, quote, I want to take my time with you to learn every inch of you. And this apartment has very, very thin walls. I don't want to have an audience, he added as he leaned down again, brushing his mouth over the cut at the base of her throat when I make you moan, Aelin. So,
yep, we worship in different places.
So just repeat that verbatim, except when it says Aelin, just put my name, and that's all. Yeah, that's it. Gravelly voice is a plus.
Yeah,
we love a gravelly voice.
When she walks out in the gold lingerie, like, because she asked him what color.
Okay, so even more than the negligee stuff, and even more than the worshiping your body thing. What struck me in this part of the book that I love was page 527 in our text, where she said softly, "You make me want to live, Rowan.
Yeah.
Not survive, not exist, live." And then later he says it back to her. He's like, "You make me want to live too." And I'm like, God damn this job. I can't take.
Dude. I know we're getting to like mate territory sooner rather than later. I pinned that same chapter, but like one page before in the scripture, because I was just like, "Oh, what do you mean by that?" When they first kiss, where he says his body went still, his entire world went still at that whisper of a kiss, the answer to a question he's asked for centuries. What do you think's the question?
Can I have more than one mate? Can I love again?
Perhaps.
Am I worthy? I think it's a self-worth kind of thing.
It could be a self-worth thing. I think it could
because
be like
he's
that.
super upset. He's spaghetti that she got murked for preggers and he didn't know, and he couldn't save her.
There was another part that I didn't quite understand. I'm curious to see what you guys interpreted it as, and maybe I'm just being a doofus. Page 447. It's a very little bit on that page, and Kale says never again. And I have no idea what he's referring to.
Really?
I'll never be an asshole again.
No,
yeah, I don't. It doesn't have. I don't. For me, when I was reading it, it just didn't.
Yeah, I didn't understand.
I didn't understand. Never again. What? What were we talking about?
Because he's talking about Nehemia, and that's why he makes that promise to her, and he says never again because it's about the tension. There's an earlier point in the chapter where he mentions like the stress of this based on what had happened the previous year in the winter. So he was saying like, we're not losing one of your friends. It was directly related to about the friendship and how it reminded her of Nehemia.
I guess I would have just liked that spelled out for me because, like Selena, I have a hard time connecting the dots.
Well, yeah, this line here. Kale noticed then where her eyes had focused on his face. He paled, his mouth opening. He's looking at like the scar that she had given him when he, fucked up and got Nehemia killed. So
yeah,
I mean, Nehemia got herself killed. Let's be real, but you know what I mean.
Good. Oh, sorry. I mean, bad. No.
Oh no. I was confused about why Lorcan came back. That just seems so out of character. Like, he went to such great lengths to like give him the scent and not kill the houndy guys. I also don't understand why he just kind of like chillaxed in the city, like doing fuck all for so long if he wasn't actually like killing the hound things. Mm-hmm. He was just like, what, sitting on the adjacent roof, just like chilling with a margarita, watching everything unfold. Like, what the fuck was Lorcan doing all this time? And then he just decides, you know what? This carefully crafted plan that I made, fuck it. We're just gonna go. All because his not actually a friendo son is there. Like that. I mean, I guess we don't really know a whole lot about Lorcan right now, but what I do know, that just doesn't track. It's not enough. It is not sticking.
I took it as, I guess, the scene, because there is a scene where Rowan refers to Adian as his brother in his court, and it's noted that, like, Lorcan makes a face at him, and he's like a very minuscule, like, thing. And I think it's just that, like, allegiance and brotherhood, I guess. Because Rowan to him is like, you have left the Brotherhood. You have left. Like, he refers to his queen as Maeve. And Rowan's like, my queen is downstairs. Like, what are you talking about? So their alliances have shifted. So that's why I feel like his loyalty is not to him anymore. And Gabrielle's loyalty still is kind of how I interpreted it as. Like,
well, yeah, he says that's my brother's son. I could never I would never
leave him to die or whatever.
Yeah, or I think he's like, forgive myself or some shit. Like, it's a guilt thing.
Yeah, but they also mentioned that he's not really bro-y with the bros. That he's like a loose cannon on his own, doing his own lone wolf bullshit.
But that doesn't change the fact that they're still allied together and that they have been for centuries, you know? Yeah. Think of it like little brother, but like, that's still my brother. Don't fucking touch my brother.
Yeah,
like, only I'm allowed to call him an asshole. You're not allowed to call him an asshole.
Yeah, I think it's different too. Like, I don't want to hang out with you, but also, oh my god, your son is going into peril, and I didn't fucking know that he was going to be there, and now I have to go save his ass.
Yeah, but it was also like, I knew and I did nothing, and he couldn't live with that.
It says that he did not know Gabrielle's son would be in the tunnel until it was too late.
Yeah, but again, he doesn't just like piece the fuck out whenever that immediate threat is, dealt with. He like hangs out a little bit.
I want to know what fucking took him so long.
And I really do feel like he was sitting on an adjacent roof, like super drinking margaritas, watching everything happen. Because like, what else was he fucking doing in the city?
He's looking for the word stone, so he's looking for the other two.
Obviously not looking very hard.
He's trying his best.
On that note, where the fuck is the third one? One was in Caltane. One is with Aelin, Selena Gomez. Where's the third one?
Now that I don't know, I don't remember the poem. I feel like there was something about fire and like volcano. I bet we're gonna go to that.
I forgot all about the poem.
Selena,
what was that?
Selena, after reading the poem.
Well, the king guy collected two of them, so I assume that he already went to the fiery chasm or whatever and acquired said stone.
Yeah, could be. I don't remember the poem. We'll see if Cuddle can find it here for us.
How fucked is it that Duke Shitface was the one that's like actually the bad guy the whole time?
Well, he was pretty fucking bad, to be fair.
Well, the big bad.
Yeah.
The BBEG, if you will.
It was a good heel turn. Did you actually, we should probably discuss this maybe after getting the poem, but how did you guys feel with the heel turn with the king right at the end? Do you feel like that was real?
No.
No? You think it was...
No, but I'm very Scorched Earth. Like, I will absolutely write off a character for no reason.
Yes.
Very hard on characters.
Yes. I mean, we've seen that before with you.
I think it was real, but I don't think he deserved forgiveness.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, no, he's fucking awful. Like, he had to go, but I almost wonder, I'm like, is it for real? Because I'm like, okay, this whole time Dorian's been like trying to get people to kill him, so he's like been purposely antagonizing, but he's like, I did this to you. I'm like, bro, she was 8 years old. Do you want an 8-year-old to kill you as a grown man? Like, do you think that would, I mean, she's powerful, but like, is that even logical? Like, part of me is just like, and how Aelin goes back and forth with Nehemia being like, oh, they'll leave words for you like that. Like, you know, when people leave, don't think much of it. It was interesting, though. I was like, oh, that's nice that there is some type of thing here. I mean, because we don't have a lot of options or I guess, information on what happens to you when you use those word keys. Because that's what he was saying. Like, do you know what you have to become to use that? Because, it's me. But I feel like that's a lie.
Yeah, that didn't feel truthful, especially since Duke Dickface is the one that had him anyways.
Mm-hmm. The only interesting part of it to me was the idea that he had hidden that from the Duke, where magic had left this area, that he had pulled off that spell. That implication is very interesting, that he was trying to, you know.
Yeah, I feel like it's really difficult to, cause just like looking at Dorian's POVs and the amount of control that was exerted over him, I find it really difficult to believe that the king was able to X out magic like that without, you know.
Those came later in their like lineage. Maybe he would have gotten a collar. He did have a ring.
I was actually hoping that Aelin was going to like take the collar, like grab onto it and like melt it, and that was going to release him. That's what I actually thought was going to happen. That it was tied to the collar and not like actually like in his brain.
Sure.
I was a little sad that didn't happen because I thought that would have been really cool.
It would have been cool. I would have liked that.
I found it. Okay, so in Round of Midnight, page 280, that is in chapter 37. This is by the version. Right. By the Valg 3 were made, of the gate stone of the word. Obsidian the gods forbade, and stone they greatly feared. Maybe it's weird. Whatever. I don't know.
That's what we were like, is it word? Is it weird?
Mm-hmm. In grief, he hid one in the crown of her he loved so well, to keep with her where she lay down inside the starry cell. The second one was hidden in a mountain made of fire, where all men were forbidden despite their great desires. Where the third lies will never be told by voice or tongue or sum of gold.
What do you mean by
right,
that?
and the third one was in her amulet.
One.
That's the amulet one. So, yeah, volcano time.
Yeah, so the Duke must have known where that
He told Kaltain that she was going to get a second one put into her body soon.
Maybe he was going to take the one from the king and assume total control.
But the king didn't have one.
Yeah, he did. He had
no,
one from the Starry Side.
When the king, yeah, but I think he might have given that to. So in the very first book, it talks about how the king like disappeared for a long time, and all of the men were dead. Did he go to Morath? And if he did go to Morath, what was? We can't say that was when he was like possessed, right?
No, it was before then, because he did the magic shenanigans in response to.
Now, I also had another thought, and this is like really interesting to me, and I don't know where we're with this, but I think that this is a thing. So in The Queen of Shadows on page 421, this is when Manon is getting like attacked by Roland and the whole thing. And they talk about how the color of their eyes played an impact on who had been attacked and who was not. The gold eyes had always been prized among blackbeaks. She'd never wondered why, but that the ones that were affected had ordinary colors and not the gold flecks. And later on, when Dorian goes to talk to her, he looks in her eyes, and the demon is like super upset about her eyes. But then also,
rude.
It says the demon inside of him recoiled. This is page 462. The demon inside him recoiled, clawing at the walls of his mind. Eyes of the Valg kings, eyes of our masters. It shrieked, do not touch that one. Now, if we know anything about some of these characters, it's their fucking eye color. You know what color eyes? Well, so Aelin has what, turquoise eyes?
With a golden ring,
With a golden ring. So she has gold in her eyes.
So does Astarion and everyone else.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm wondering, we've made such a big deal so far.
Oh my god, is Aelin related
I
to
don't
everybody?
know. Well, but they do say that Fae were related back to Valg as well. So does that mean that, well, Aelin's also fire, and the fire would freak them out too. Because that's what happened with the king, is that because he burned her. I just wonder, like, I almost want to go back now and look, be like, all right, who has gold eye? Because we've made multiple things about the colors of people's eyes, and I feel like there's more than just the witches that have gold in them.
Mm-hmm. But when the being was inside of Dorian and Aelin was there, they did have a conversation that was locked in place, and they did look at each other, and it wasn't mentioned at that point, like That's through true. Dorian's perspective either, like in later chapters. So I wonder if it's just kind of the same, I guess, equivalent to like how Astarion's eyes are like brown or black fleckled with gold, but it doesn't, like, I don't know. I mean, it's an interesting theory.
And I wonder why he's saying do not touch that. Like, it's weird that he's like freaked out by her eyes. I don't understand why he would feel that way. Like, we know that the witches were related to the Valg, but I don't know why that would almost scare the demon, because he's scared shitless and freaking out and like, don't touch her. Why not? I don't know. It just, I want to understand that one a little better. I think there's something there.
Yeah, definitely could be. Definitely one for our unanswered questions section.
Yes,
it's true.
What about faves and least faves?
My favorite character was Lysandra. I also love how she played around with when they're going, like at the very end, going home, and she was kind of playing around and just being silly with the forms. I fucking love that. It just lifted my heart, because, you know, she's been through so much, and to see that she can still find joy and be, you know, lighthearted. It was good. I liked it. My least favorite has probably got to be the grandma witch lady, because she a cunt with a K.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the whole forced breeding farm thing. She's into it.
Yeah.
Not great.
Hate that.
Yeah, not great.
Oh, what did you guys think of the tower thing with the mirrors and shit?
I don't know. I guess I don't really understand the implications of it. I know they were different when Selena was going through that cart with the lady with Baba Yellow Legs and that, but I don't understand how it can. I mean, they gave us a little information on how it worked, but I'm just like not understanding how it's actually going to be utilized, I guess.
It's like a magnifying glass.
It's going to amplify the fire, the shadow fire,
which they don't have anymore.
Right.
I wonder almost if Aelin's going to get it and amplify her fire.
That'd be cool. Tower of Dawn is the next book, right?
It's true.
Empire of Storms and Tower of Dawn.
Tandem Read.
I'm wondering, what are we going to do with these other countries? Like, what about Eelway? What about the Southern Continent? What about like the Shadow Assassins and the
Shadow Assassin Daddy?
Yeah, like when are they going to come into play?
Yeah,
probably the very last one, I would imagine.
Yeah, I mean, they probably need time. Obviously, they just got freed. from Madeline's rule. So like they probably
which was really cool.
Yes. Nehemia's spirits right now is just like, yes.
Fucking finally.
Oh my god. Selena, thank you. Get the shit together. It'd be interesting to see. I kind of picture it like the final war effort and like, you know, who's gonna show up and who's not and blah blah. You know what I mean?
I would say I freaking adored and loved Lysandra. Mm-hmm. I really think that her and Adian are going to end up together.
Yeah, that'd be cute.
I feel like they're very Cassian and more. So I don't know about that though. Yeah. So least favorite character, fucking assassin daddy for
being a dick.
Having that escape plan of the if I die, she gets outed. Like I hated that. I mean, I get it, and I still love him, but I hate that. So I did not enjoy that.
One final fuck you from Arvin.
Yeah, one final fuck you.
He had to do it to him.
I wonder if the final fuck you also gave the king the champion / Aelin Galathinius. He told the king that. Because it kind of seems weird that he would out Lysandra, but he wouldn't out Aelin.
It's true. I don't know. I thought it was weird that the king just was like, hey, I know who you are. I was like, oh, this is a sudden realization. So it makes sense to me to think that the king got like a little tidbit dropped in his cup, so to say.
What would you guys think that, like, has the overall theme for you changed at all? Like, what do you think the message for this section is?
Found family.
Just like a punch in the face. Because that's essentially what this part of the book was. It's just like one great big punch to the face. You know, to me, to you, to the king. Everybody got punched.
Are you happy that the way that the king died? Like, do you feel like it should have been more Aelin, like with a knife in the back or something?
No, I like that it was Dorian.
Yeah, I like that she gave up her
kill,
her revenge.
She did it for both Assassin Daddy and the king.
I feel like that shows tremendous growth.
Mm-hmm. It really does.
Because she's like, you know what? This needs to happen, but I recognize that I don't have to be the one to do it. It just needs to be done. Mm-hmm. I feel like delegating is very queenly.
Speaking of queenly and growth, her talking and addressing Rifthold after the whole thing, I was like, damn, like, okay, shit. I love this Aelin. Like, it was almost very Daenerys Targaryen, you know, where she's like telling them they're free or some shit. It was very that, and I love seeing her and step into this queenly role, and I loved it.
Yeah, that part was great.
I just thought it was so badass, and I was like, "Yeah, step on me, mommy."
Speaking of growth and a possible unanswered question that I don't think will ever actually come to fruition, but you ever think about how Lysandra is a shapeshifter and how she knows what Sam looks like and how she could transform into Sam so Selena could say goodbye because she never got the chance to?
Why do now?
Ow. Or if she actually was in love with Aelin, that she could transform and that they could be together.
Yes.
Or like, that she could transform into Aelin.
Damn, yeah. She could kind of backstep a little bit. If she wanted to.
Ooh,
or she could be a decoy.
Ooh.
Or an assassination attempt.
Yes.
Oh, are they going to kill Lysandra?
Oh, no.
Oh, that's got to be somebody you keep real close to you and you make sure that they love you and it's not ambitious because shit, she could fuck up like everything.
Well, she could fuck up everything in the sense of, like, if you wanted to say that she would betray Aelin at some point, which at this point I don't think is a possibility.
I don't think so.
But, like, if she showed up as Sam, like, in a moment, Aelin would pause for long enough, looking at how realistic he looked, to be allowed to be killed or captured or something. You know, it could be used as a distraction, because even Aelin obviously would know that Sam is dead and that he's not here. But I think for a split moment, the shock of like seeing his, so it'd be enough of a pause though to take advantage of as an enemy or something.
Yeah, same. Yeah. Or she could come back as Caltaine and get the third word stone.
Hey, there you go. We'll get shit together eventually.
Or she could turn into Abraxas and they can sniff the fucking flowers together because they still do that and it's amazing.
Let's go.
I need Abraxas to like chase Fleetfoot through a field.
Yes.
I just love the sky puppy and the regular puppy, and now I need a water puppy.
The Fleetfoot reunion with the gang.
Oh, so good.
Iconic.
And Fleetfoot was like, "The fuck are they?" She's like, "It's fine." And Fleetfoot was like, "All right,
cool.
Let's go.
All right, Mom, whatever you say. I'm just glad you're
just
here.
happy guy. I'm just happy guy. God, I love it whenever books have like puppies and shit. God.
Oh yeah.
I love.
I think my only unanswered questions at this point are like, okay, you're in Terrasen, now what? Like, do you just, is there a castle still there? Like, has it been leveled out? Like, do you have to rebuild it? Do you get to move back in? Like, obviously the people are pretty on board. She has pretty good reputation, but just kind of like the logistics of it, I'm like,
what's her kingdom? Are people gonna say?
When she
like, I'm yeah. Well, it was weird that Rowan could feel her pain. I thought that was weird.
Oh, I wonder what. I still think it's weird that they can have entire complex conversations.
Well, so can Reese and Farah.
Yeah, but they have the brain stuff. I mean, I've even tried. Just leave me alone. I have tried as I've been reading, and they do that in the book, and I'm like, what even would that look like? And then I'll try to be like moving my face around to say that. I'm like, I just don't think I could accurately convey those words.
Yeah.
Just by looking. My husband every once in a while stare at me and be like, what are you doing?
I think of it. Have you guys seen the second Planet of the Apes movie? Like the original ones?
No.
The humans learn how to speak telepathically, and it's the worst thing ever because every time in the movie it happens, it makes this horrific sound effect. So a character will look at another character and it just goes, "Ba-bum!" And it does it every 2 seconds, like every time they speak telepathically. To the point, like now, I made that my ringtone for my brother because we watch those movies all together. And he texts me, "Ba-bum!" And I'm like, oh my god, bro. I freak out every time.
All right, so a character I most want to lecture is you for that choice.
Wow. Wow, dude.
I kid. Obviously, it's you know, the matron with the breeding farm. I just feel like we need to sit down and have a really long talk about reproductive rights and
or Elid's uncle.
Yeah.
No, I think the matron's worse.
Yeah, he's facilitating a lot. I don't know. They're both pretty ass. I mean, I just kind of kill both of them, take them out.
I mean,
he's the one to lecture Lorcan and be like, "Hey, can you relax?"
I have a harder time with the matron because he's a man. Yes, I'm not trying to man hate, but she is another woman. So for a woman to do that to another woman, I think is a little different than from a man doing it to a woman.
Because they can't imagine the physical side. Yeah,
yeah.
Both of them would be on the list for me.
For sure.
You guys identify with anyone though, like in particular?
I feel like I'm a lot like Adian in this section, where just in my general life, where
nobody tells you anything.
Well, no, more like just trying to get shit done and not necessarily. Well, and I guess Selena a little bit, just like that. I have, especially with work, I feel like I know that things have to get done. I don't necessarily have to be the one to do them, but we just get to work. Does that make sense? And I can identify with that piece of it. And to Adian being super loyal and willing to put his own pride aside and let Rowan kind of take the lead. And I really liked all that. And I feel like I can do those things too. And I get it. And I love that. At the same time, I also really liked how Lysandra basically threw herself into harm's way for her friends. And it's just a lot of loyalty stuff, like, and I identify with a lot of that because I feel like I would be one of the people to make a lot of those decisions too.
Mm-hmm. You guys always pick such like happy, positive ones. Literally, my whole note for this, what character I'm most identified with is the scene when Elide gets locked up by her uncle and she's so fucking depressed she doesn't even try the handle to leave the room.
Wow.
God damn.
Sorry, you're like, you know what? I can be that person and I have inner strength and I'm this and like for me, yep. I'm literally like I tag.
I mean, I do get it.
It's just like, damn, bro. Could I just be happy for 1 second? I don't ask for much.
Or I thought you were gonna say Keltane. To be honest, I thought you were gonna go that route.
Yeah. Well, in what way?
Just the feminine rage, self-sacrifice thing. Well, because in the I'm broken and I'd rather watch them burn than try to repair everything that they've done to me.
Yeah, maybe. I would say for me, Elide stood out a little bit more for me. At least in that one scene, I was like, damn, bro. She didn't even try the door handle. I was like, me. I'm like, damn, bitch, we sad as hell. Look at us.
I have a quote for who I most identify with. In the scriptures on page 606, down at the bottom, it says, Lysandra vomited black blood all over him. This was by far my most favorite part in the entire book. Lorcan's all like, I'm gonna be an asshole. And she's just like, you forgot to say please. He's like, I don't have time for this. I have to be an asshole. And then she just responds with fucking blowing chunks all over him. And then she's just like, I am so sorry. And then fucking does it again. Black blood and bits of gore. And I'm just like, Jesus Christ. I love this woman. Let's get married. This is amazing. Please, dear God, let me have a moment like this at some point.
Oh, that's what I should have said was Lysandra, because we have done the whole oh my God, are we proposing thing 87,000 times. So we're all Lysandra, let's be honest.
It's true.
But just the fact that she got him to fuck off just because she
and then Rowan literally was like, you deserve that, by the way. Sassy, my sassy king. How does he do it?
Chef's kiss. Like I can't, Sarah, please put that in every single book you write from now until the rest of time. Just add it to the list of bloody ribbons, watery bowels, puking,
toe curling.
Curling. What's the other one? Strangely intimate.
We love a strangely intimate.
I need it so bad. I predict that this will happen because Sarah, we good. You got me.
She knows. What do you guys have for predictions? I know we're about to start our tandem raid soon for Taradon and what was it? Empire of Storms?
Yeah. I think that Kale's going to walk again. Mm-hmm. And I think that we're going to be healed by the lady. And I think that him and Nezrin are going to have a relationship.
I mean, they kind of do already, don't they?
Like
they have a situationship.
Oh my God.
So who do you think is going to be... I don't understand how he can have titles in 2 different courts. Like 2 different kingdoms.
Aelin just said, fuck you, I'm doing it.
Well, he's like an ambassador, right?
Yeah.
So he's basically just got 2 full-time jobs. Let's put him to work.
I mean, it's fine.
He kind of owes her.
About time he pulled his damn weight.
I can't live like this. I do say the same thing, though. I think he will be healed. I think it'll be the healer from Assassin's Blade that does it. It would be cool to see Ansel show up at some point. That would be cool for the next couple books. I also think it's going to get real scary. I think things are going to get real spooky, and then the bad things are going to happen because things are at a good point in the story right now.
Oh, yeah.
And I think Sarah has to take us in a really dark place, but then everything's going to be okay. Like that TikTok audio, it's like, first it was scary, and then it was fun, and then it was scary again, and then it was fun again. Like, I think that's going to be the plot of everything that happens here. Like, it's going to be terrible. I don't think her and Rowan are going to be, like, they have to be separated at some point because they're too powerful together. So something bad's going to happen. I don't know what the fuck that means. I don't think Rowan's going to die. But it's just things... Sarah hasn't traumatized these characters enough for them to have their happy ending. So
no, the bottom's going to fall out.
Yeah, bad things are going to happen. I do think
Do you think everybody's going to live?
And Manon will date? No.
I think we're going to have some deaths.
We have to.
Do you think they're going to
Lysandra's
stay dead?
Die? I think Lysandra's probably going to die.
Do you
protecting Aelin. Yeah. Yeah, I do. Yep.
So
I think...
She can end up with Adian. Maybe a lead. No, they wouldn't fit.
I mean, they could end up together and then be ripped violently away from each other.
I think that Lorcan will join the homies.
Yeah, I do.
Mm-hmm. At
Reluctantly.
some point, we have to kill Maeve, and all those blood ties are going to be not a problem anymore. And if he's such buddy-buddy with Gavriel, then here you go.
Yeah, I have a feeling that Lysandra's going to die. Too many good things are happening to her. We love her, so she's gonna, yeah. It's a thing.
Do you think Evangeline will be her heir?
What if she also...
No, I don't think Evangeline will die.
What if Evangeline died and Lysandra lived, and then Sarah J. Maas forced that character to, like, live with that pain forever? That would be fun.
Oh, like having to choose between Aelin and can only save one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And she chooses Aelin over her charge.
I hate that.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I'm just putting it out there.
I think we're going to need some tough choices, though, for sure.
I don't think a lead is going to die. I think because her mom already died protecting Aelin, that she will get to live.
So her mom was a witch?
A secret witch.
They have, like, witch heritage, yeah.
I feel like we would have known.
I feel like I want to go back and reread the part
where she got her head chopped off.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I want to go back and reread that. And I feel like her mom would have been a bit more badass in that moment.
Well, magic was gone, so she couldn't have done
Manon don't fucking need magic. All her people, they'd be all like...
No, I mean to become the witch. Remember, it's
her
like
mom.
I heard you, but I'm saying like the period thing. It was like a period womanhood moment thing. And because there was no magic, we don't know how young she was.
Or
possible that
for the kiddo who is now the lady with the fucked up foot.
Right.
Right.
But it also could have been a problem for mom. We don't know how old when she did her stuff and things. We don't know. We don't know a whole lot.
I don't know. Shit's just weird, and it makes me want to go back and reread it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure we'll get more answers about it, to be honest. But Dorian and Manon, for sure. Rowan and Aelin get married and live happily ever after dark spooky time.
Well, I think that leads us to the most important question of the podcast.
It does.
Blue, who is Fae of the Day?
See, there's so many wonderful choices.
Obviously, it's Cuddle.
Always in my heart forever. But there are a lot of options.
I also an option.
Mort, buried under the rubble.
Oh,
R.I.P.
Poor Mort. Do you think Mort is dead?
I don't know.
I don't think we're gonna talk to him again, but I don't think he's dead. He's eternal.
Mood. Maybe. Probably not, though. I feel like it kind of has to go to Lysandra.
Hell yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We agree.
Yeah, first of all, an absolute hottie, baddie queen. Love her. Second of all, a selfless person who's willing to put themselves in harm's way for this random child. Love it.
Mm-hmm.
She saves Adian and Rowan's life, and she gets to do it as a cat. Dude, that's pretty cool. And,
yes.
you know, she has a little gay tension with Aelin. She's like, are we getting engaged right now? What's going on here?
I love it.
I love their friendship, and I love what it represents to Aelin. And I think Lysandra is one of those beautiful examples of Sarah J. Maas being like, you hate this character. And you're like, yes, I do. And then she's like, no, you don't, actually. And then you're like, fuck, dude, I don't.
I was going full scorched earth, and you just fucking fucked it up.
And she's like, well, have you considered their horrific upbringing and their selfless acts as an adult? And you're like, nah. Like,
but they said a mean thing to my person once.
Yeah. Well, her at 16 was really mean to another 16-year-old, which is completely unheard of. Like, it just... So
like
she's gotta be gay. No, I mean, she does it on purpose. Sarah purposely writes a character in a really unlikable way and then is like, what if I gave you this crumb of information about them? And then you're like, no! So it's it's a perfect example of it.
The Empire of Storms cover has a pirate ship on it.
Ooh, you think we're getting Pirate Bay from back in the day?
He's got his map works now.
And Tower of Dawn, as I think what I would imagine is Eelway in the background.
I guess we'll find out.
On the cover.
Said, I'm going to go ahead and read off our outro here.
Yeah.
Of course, we want to thank you guys for listening. This has been the Smutty Scriptures podcast, reading Queen of Shadows all the way to the end. We are going to, for the next 2 books of this series, it is recommended to do, for the most emotional impact, to do a tandem read of Tower of Dawn and Empire of Storms. We will probably post on Instagram and a few other places as far as like the guide that we're following. I know these two, if you guys are following Smutty Scriptures on Instagram or TikTok, you can look at all the links that we have up in the Etsy shop. There's actually a book club kit where we give you like tips and stuff on how to actually host a book themed event. And I know we put the picture of the tandem chapters in as well. It might be a little bit confusing, but we'll go over it with y'all and y'all will see it. But it's a well established way to read them. So we'll technically be reading 2 books at once, just kind of jumping back and forth from character perspective. So it's going to be a little different, and we will probably do that in about 3 episodes, because again, it will probably be a little bit more confusing. We'll see as we get into it. So that'll be a little funky. But like I said, make sure to check out the Smutty Scriptures Instagram, the Smutty Scriptures TikTok page. We've got Etsy stuff going on. Purple and Cuddle have been working really hard on designs for it. There's a lot of Den of Vipers themed stuff, a lot of Akatar themed stuff, a lot of really cool designs, and you guys should check them out and support. But with that being said, church is adjourned.
Amen. Ah, Lysandra.
Lysandra.
Obey the day.
Jesus.
Obey Lysandra.